So I finished my movie review just a little while back, and now it's time for the book review as usual. And so this is, well, you know because you clicked on this video and read the title, I Wish You All the Best by Deaver. This is a book that's similar to a lot of other books I've read, but also stands out for a variety of reasons. So if you read a synopsis where someone omits a few things, in that this kid named Ben DeBacher ends up kicked out of his house after he comes out to his parents, you'd think it's because he admits to them he's gay and his parents are bigoted and he knew it, but he still gambled. The start is very harrowing. Ben ends up having a place to go though. He has a sister who's about 11 years older than him, who ended up leaving a long time ago. We don't exactly know why. They reunite after a decade and he goes to live with her 3 hours away from his old home. He ends up having to transfer schools. He has new guardians, a new education, a new life, new everything. And now he's faced with quite a few questions. Is he now never going to see his parents again? But it's not because he's gay, not exactly. Instead, he identifies as non-binary, which is not identifying as either male or female, not having one particular gender. And so the correct pronoun is not he or him or she or her. It's actually they and them. I is still used instead of we, but yeah, is he gonna be able to come out as non-binary to his new school, or is it better to keep it quiet because after what happened he doesn't want to put up with another outing, you know? And also, what about this kid named Nathan who first guided him around the school and is now really attached to him? It's pretty obvious who that is. And so now we have our story, and I have to admit, I had not heard of non-binary people before, but now I'm glad I did. I guess I wasn't educated enough on the subject, but I thank Deaver for getting me properly informed. And throughout this review, I'm going to try my best to refer to Ben as them or they. It can be a little hard to get used to when you're brand new to it. And that's another thing. Whenever Ben hears them addressed as he or him, there's this feeling, and I guess that I can sort of understand that. It kind of is a punch in their face as to society just never really accepting them for who they are, you know? Ben has another non-binary friend named Miriam. The two of them are just, they're very inseparable. Even though Miriam is quite famous, I really applaud them. They really care about Ben quite a bit. Fortunately, Ben ends up being able to shift rather comfortably. I mean, there are some bumps, but not too many, all things considered, but still. Being kicked out of the house you've always known just for revealing who you are, that's a feeling that can cause a lot of trauma, I can imagine. So first of all, a little thing about this book is, from the cover, you'd think it is a full-on romance. It's not quite. The relationship that Ben has with Nathan, for the most part, it's sort of a close friendship, a bromance sort of thing. Though you can imagine from the way this is, and even the back cover of them on Nathan's roof, you can tell, okay, they're gonna get together at one point, I know it. So it's more a matter of how it will happen, when it will happen. And I will say, it is very sweet and very nice, a very refreshing, maybe even, if you could call it that, how Hannah and Nathan each separately take Ben under their wing and make sure that they are properly, looked after, even if they don't understand everything that they're going through. And the panic attacks Ben has are relatable, especially when they consider maybe their parents will one day return and confront them once again, and what will happen when that happens. So I'll say, I don't know if I would put this under the romance section. I would say it more focuses on the coming of age sort of drama. And I will say, as for Ben and Nathan, since we can tell they're eventually going to be in a relationship, they have a friendship that's kind of perfect. You can see them as just the couple that has no flaws, that would never argue. The two of them are just complete with one another, and I couldn't really imagine them ever getting into a fight, which is kind of both criticism and compliment, because I feel like relationships are often a lot rockier than this. Still, it's nice to get a story where everything relationship-wise between the two of them is not too complicated, not really aggressive, not really angry. But a few short hiccups are, I found it a little hard to believe when I heard Nathan found reading fiction very boring, but doing scholarly research and figuring out facts as exciting. I didn't really buy that. I'm not criticizing anyone who does like to do that. I'm not criticizing anyone who might have, well, society would say unusual hobbies. I became a movie and book critic at 15, for goodness sake. I just didn't buy that very well. And after the very tough first few chapters, things kind of settle down a little bit noticeably, and sometimes it stalls. Although I have to admit, in all sorts of books, you can't always like put all of the homophobia, all the brutality onto one protagonist. Sometimes there's only just so much they can endure, and only so much you can expect from a book that's really grounded in reality, you know? So I will say the second act is a little bit long, and I kind of got impatient for things to keep going because the relationship between Ben and Nathan, it's obvious they had really concrete feelings for each other. Still, the final act, it once again dives into the harrowing aspects, and I really enjoyed the ending. Basically, the beginning and ending, very good. Middle could have been a little faster, but you know what? At the end of the day, I look at this cover, I have a smile on my face. I'm glad I read this. It was a good time overall. So my grade for I Wish You All the Best is a 3 out of 4. And props to Mason Deaver, who's also non-binary, for introducing me to the term. I'm really grateful that they introduced me that way. And I hope that over the years this book properly helps non-binary people feel that they're not alone if they ever do feel alone. And also, I hope that if anyone on the LGBTQ+ spectrum ever ends up going through what Ben goes through, that they end up being able to come out the other side and be able to move up from there like they managed to.